de Santiago de Compostela is one of the few great challenges that remain in the modern world. There are no more slow boats to China and no more Wild West. In today's technological world, you can travel cheaply and fast to all corners of the globe. The internet and the use of computers has speeded up both the spread of information and the pace of life. Sometimes today's world feels a bit like a fast spinning roundabout in a playground. It is fun and exciting, but wouldn't it be nice to get off the roundabout for a while? As well as offering many other things, the Camino gives you the chance to step off that roundabout. However, it is not just a nice relaxing stroll through the Spanish countryside. Joining the Camino takes commitment and fortitude. The Camino remains, as it has done for centuries, as a challenge to oneself. It may be, as it is to many in both the past and today, a route of spiritual pilgrimage, but it also is true that those who are walking, cycling or riding the Camino are taking part in the quest. For over 8 centuries, pilgrims have followed the road to Santiago de Compostela, known as the Camino. Although there are a number of recognised routes, the most well-known and best equipped is the one known as the French route, or as they call it in Spanish, the Camino Francés. This route traditionally starts in Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port and finishes in Santiago de Compostela, about 780 kilometres later, after crossing through some of the most breathtaking scenery of northern Spain. The Camino de Santiago de Compostela, known in English as the Way of St. James, is a collection of old pilgrimage routes, all ending in Santiago, at the city's cathedral, at the shrine and reputed burial place of the Apostle St. James. In recent years, there has been an increase in commercial organisations offering assisted Camino packages, and then there are others who seek to undertake the journey by car. But the real pilgrims, or travellers, are those who use the traditional methods either by their own power, on foot, or on bike, or the rare few that use horses. There is a basic distinction between the tourist and the pilgrim. As it says in the walls of the refugio at Mansilla de las Mulas is a notice which ends, and don't forget, the tourist says, "Give me," the pilgrim says, "Thank you." With the Camino, it is not the destination that is important, but it is the journey itself. Many people only have the time available to walk a small portion of the route and will return year after year to add more distance to their journey. Many of those walking the Camino do not stop at Santiago de Compostela, but carry on another 100 kilometres or so to Finisterre, the end of the world, before they believe that their journey has really ended.
I think I have changed a lot. I can't put a finger on exactly what has changed, but I think I'm going to go back home and not live the same life that I was living. I think it really makes you realize the wasteful things that you were doing before you came on this trip. Just wasting time and life and everything. I don't think I expected it to be the way that it was. I think that it would be impossible to prepare anyone for this experience. When you realize that it's not about the journey at all, it's about the people that you meet while you're walking. I think that I think that it's the shift that happens and you start to realize that the walk doesn't matter at all. It's all the extra stuff that you gain while you're walking.
This documentary is intended to be a guide for those thinking about taking part in the Camino. It hopes to offer an insight into the motivations, the sights, the history and the culture of the places and people you will meet in that journey. But in addition, we hope to offer some practical advice about the planning and preparation for one of the most interesting challenges that people will encounter in their lives. Many people who have walked the Camino will describe the experience as life-changing, and it's certainly a journey that requires preparation and planning.
Camino requires you to trust that there will be a bed in the next town, trust that there will be a person to help you when you're feeling exhausted, or somebody will come by with water when you have accidentally run out yourself. I would say take care of your feet. I would say stop regularly, check your feet, get good equipment, lightweight good equipment, and practice. Go for successive good long walks, not one walk one day and then nothing for a week. Go for long walks over a weekend and carry some weight. And be patient, go slowly, it's not a race.
In a world governed by the commitment of work, family and public transport schedules, not to mention the cost involved, there are many things that you have to take into account in planning your journey. If you are thinking seriously of taking part in the Camino, you must first work out how many days you have available, taking into consideration the time it will take you to get to your starting point and then to get home from Santiago. In addition to the walking, you will need some rest days and the time to spend in places of interest along the way. As to the distance you can walk in one day, assume 20 to 30 kilometers, depending on how strong and fit you are. There are no other rules as such about how you should undertake your journey, but you will find on the road among the pilgrims to Santiago a clearly defined ethos. Certain attitudes and behaviour are appropriate to the pilgrimage. Some have summed this up as in the need to be true to oneself and to respect the motivations of others.
Okay, well, everybody does the Camino, as you know, for different reasons. I'm doing the Camino for personal reasons. I've been caring for my father for the last several years. He's just passed with Alzheimer's, and so we're kind of doing it together.
It is a good suggestion that you prepare yourself for walking the Camino with some regular exercise and some long walks, just to get your body prepared for the difficulty of walking over 20 kilometers per day for 30 plus days in a row. However, over half the pilgrims you will meet have done very little in the way of conditioning themselves. Many have not had the time or have only decided to walk the Camino at short notice. But in general, if you take your time and walk your own Camino at your own pace with the rests along the way, you should, after the first 10 days, have conditioned your body to the demands of the Camino, and you will find the going becomes easier.
We flew into Paris, then took a train down here and started at St. John. And it's my first big adventure. I've never done anything like this before in my life. I'm kind of a prissy girl, so this is something new for me to do. And it's really spiritual and emotional and physical, challenging, and beautiful views. But this is something just to get my life back on track and just see who I am and what I want to be and where I want to go, and that's about it.
My name is Becky Marlowe and I'm from Columbus, Ohio. My husband passed away unexpectedly 2 years ago, and I became very fearful of everything. But when I was a 20-year-old before I met him, I was adventurous. I went to Costa Rica, I moved to Texas, and I did all these adventures. And then after he passed away, I wanted to reconnect with the girl I used to be. So I decided that it would be a good idea to come here and conquer some fears and reacquaint myself with my 23-year-old self, so I can know that I can do this without him for the rest of my life if I need to, conquer everything, so I'm not afraid for the rest of my life.
The most popular starting point for pilgrims walking the Camino is Sarria, with over 60,000 people choosing to walk the last 100 kilometres of the Camino, and thus qualify for the Compostela, which is a certificate of accomplishment given to pilgrims who have walked the last 100 kilometres or cycled the last 200 kilometres of the Camino. However, over 30,000 pilgrims each year choose to start the Camino in Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port, a small town in the southwest of France, just over the border from Spain, which is a distance of 776 kilometres from Santiago.